Hi, I'm Tim Gillingham, your host for Gold Tips Arrow University. Today we're going to teach you a little bit about how to use the selection chart to get the proper arrow for your traditional recurve or longbow. Okay, one of the most important things when you're establishing, finding the correct arrow for a traditional longbow or recurve is first understanding, what type of longbow or recurve you have, and making sure you got the right poundage. Now, this particular chart is formatted for 125 grain field points and just your average length broadhead. Okay, so if you're shooting a really long broadhead, make sure you add a little bit to the length of the arrow for that broadhead. But also make sure you know, does my bow average the speed of a recurve? If it's a longbows especially can be quite tricky. Or is it an older longbow that's not quite as high performance as today's longbows? Recurves in general pretty much fit under the same parameter, and you should plug them into the chart as needed. So the first thing we need to do is simply establish the poundage of the bow. Okay, the first step to using the selection chart for traditional equipment is to find the right poundage. So what we're going to do here is have him draw the bow back several times to kind of give us something to an indicator that tells us when we go over to the poundage scale as to how far we need to draw this bow to check the actual poundage. It's important that we get the actual poundage. Okay, so I'll have him draw it back, and I'm just going to put a dot here where he's drawn it. Okay, now I'm going to have him draw it 2 or 3 times, because you'll see that with traditional equipment especially, a lot of times they're not drawn it the same. So you see he drew it a little bit different that time. Okay, one more time. Okay, so he's right between the 2 marks. Okay, so we're going to mark this shaft about right there. Okay, so now we're going to mark this shaft here, and we're going to go over to the poundage scale, and we're going to see how many pounds is he actually pulling. Okay, what he's going to do now is to put this bow on the poundage scale. We're going to pull it down to the mark. The mark's going to go to the front of the riser just like he drew it.
That's what I'm trying to do.
And we look up at the scale now, and we can tell he's pulling approximately 32 pounds. Okay, so we plug 32 pounds into the chart. Okay, so once you've established the correct poundage, then we need to establish the correct arrow length. Now, the actual finished arrow length that we're looking for is approximately 1 inch past the riser, as you can see in the second mark here. In the third mark, this is where we're actually going to start the arrow length for our tuning process, because arrow length is so indicative to perfect tune. We want to start with a couple inches in front of the riser so that we can trim that shaft back incremental until we get optimal arrow flight. Okay, if you've never shot a carbon arrow out of a traditional longbow or a recurve, one thing you're going to discover is that a carbon arrow recovers very quickly, much faster than an aluminum arrow. Therefore, arrow length is much more critical to the proper flight of that arrow. So the recommendation is to start with that arrow 1 inch longer than you would normally start, as it says in paragraph 3 here, and then we'll slowly trim that arrow using the bare shaft tuning technique, trim it 1/4 inch at a time until we get that arrow coming nice and straight out of that bow. Then with the addition of some large feathers and maybe using the gold tip fact system, adding some weight in behind the insert, or using 125 or 145 grain field points, we can fine tune the reaction of that bow or that arrow with that bow to get the optimal performance. Let's use the chart for example. Okay. Let's say we're using a 50-pound recurve. So we're going to go to the 50-pound side of the chart here, and we're going to come over here to the traditional part. Let's say we're using a 29-inch arrow. Okay, so we'll come over here to 29 inches. That's going to put us in zone 3. If we look down here below, zone 3 is a 400 spine arrow. Now in the gold tip line, you can use a variety of different arrows. There's 55, 75 camo hunters and the black shaft like I have in my hand here. You can use the traditional arrow. You can use the Ted Nugent arrow. There's a lot of options in a 400 spine arrow. Okay, that's going to get you started with the right arrow, and then just use the bare shaft tuning guide that we have in the website, and use this information for traditional recommendations with the chart, and it should get you the proper tune and have you shooting better in the field.